Dr. Arvind C. Ranade sir has joined our cloud meeting. He has earned his MSc in Space Science from University of Pune in the year 2000 and his doctoral degree is in Astronomical Spectroscopy from Inter-University Center of Astronomy and Astrophysics, IUCAA Pune, way back in the year 2008. He began his professional journey as a scientist specializing in astronomy and space science communication at Vigyan Parisar Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, way back in the year 2004. Over 17 years of service to Vigyan Parisar, Dr. Ranade has made a significant contribution to scientific education and research through his research papers, article, books, and audio-video program. He worked on frugal innovation, engaging youth to address the local challenges with local solution. He is a recipient of several awards, contributors. Leelabai Pitkar Award way back in the year 2000, Acharya Shri Award way back in the year 2013, and Irada Vigyan Puraskar way back in the year 2017. He has been the member of Advisory Council Academic Board of various institutions like JNU, NCRT, CSR, IGUPM Haryana, and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Maharashtra. He is a life member of Astronomical Society of India, the Meteorological Society of India, and has hold various academic and administrative positions, including National Conveyor of Vidya the Vigyan Manthan, National Science Talent Search, National Coordinator of Vigyan Prasar NEET Work of Science Club, and Registrar of Vigyan Parisar before joining the National Innovation Foundation as a director. He is the Executive Director of Indian National Science Academy, New Delhi. At National Innovation Foundation India, he is involved in mentoring and guiding for the grassroots level innovation and innovators from the field of engineering, agriculture, veterinary science, and human health. So again, I welcome Honorable Dr. Arvind Ranade sir to this afternoon session. He will continue his talk till 3:30. After that, a question and answer session will be there. Over to you, sir.
Uh, Good evening, sir. First of all, thank you, Professor Rafi, for very important session in the faculty development program of Mahamana Malviya Teachers Training Center of Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Sambhajinagar. And I really appreciate the patience of the teachers from across the stream of science and technology, and then all the various streams of higher education. And as sir has briefly spoke about my academics, the way that I grew up, and now today I'm leading an organization called the National Innovation Foundation, which is an autonomous organization under the Department of Science and Technology. For next nearly 1 hour or so, I will be trying to focus my presentation on how the science, technology, innovation as an entire ecosystem is helping for the human development. And in the process, there will be a lot of deliberations and discussions and the important milestones I will be speaking about, because when we speak in terms of the human development, what matters is that we need to understand that whether the science is something of the modern age or the science was a part of us since the beginning. And in looking to all that, it becomes so important to analyze, speak about, and understand the entire aspect of the STI. And I kept my presentations on those lines only. And I hope that you will be enjoying these presentations. Let me tell you the reason to take this particular topic. As I understand, you are all the faculty in the various academic institutions. Maybe some of you are in the engineering institutions. Some of you must be in the fundamental science. Some of you must be in the various other kind of an applied science institutions, departments, center of excellence, and so many. The point to emphasize here is to highlight, because every kind of a student who comes and enroll in the higher education, definitely he comes with the lot of expectations, lot of what you called as a eager enthusiasm, that when he has been admitted into these higher institutions of a very prime important, he expect that the institutions will help him or her to have its own employment, and will be a successful person in the life as he continues to get the various accolades as he progress or she progress in the academics. The point to emphasize here is definitely the kind of expectations by the children, by the students, is not at all wrong, and there is nothing no that we should underestimate of what they expect from the institutions of prime importance, because that is where they are at the verge of their career, and it becomes for all of us to understand the eager, the into that these children or the students come up with. But what becomes more important for as a person, as a mentor, as a teacher, to make them realize that in the process of settling oneself, what matter is to understand the science, technology, and every of these fields that they are going to imbibe with this need to be of an help, of course, for their personal growth. But down the line, this kind of learnings, or this kind of a message taking to them, will also ensures that progressively how the social context, how the society, how the nation, how the progressive growth is going to happen. So to have that, what matters is the connect, the understanding, and the what you called is basically to ensure that every of the their movement, every of their work that they carry out will ensure that the nature is something is going to be there for the ages to be there. I mean, we ensure that everything that we do is going to help for building the sustainability of the human society, and that's become so important for all of us to understand in this particular presentation. So the in this particular next 60 minutes or so, what I'm going to talk about, what I'm going to speak here is basically to let you know the points that I will be referring to. So, if we have to speak in terms of the science and human development, it becomes so important to understand how the science was perhaps the part of our civilization right from the day one, and how this understanding the science, understanding the nature, understanding the environment has helped us to progress in improvisation of our health, education, environment, equity, and many more things. And as I said, the we need to also understand on what particular base is required for science to be understood, and how the science is being progressively considered by the humans, right from the observations to define the hypothesis, doing the experimentations, analyzing the data, and obviously with the certain amount of tools and techniques, how the science is become and helpful for the societal development. Then obviously it also equally becomes important for all of us to understand that when we started looking at the fruits of the science, how the humans have started making the life easier, how the improvement in the science and obviously progressively the technology has helped for the good health, to control the various diseases, and obviously to get ourselves more educated. Similarly, this also helped us for the human capitals through the science literacy, strengthening the science education, understanding the critical thinking. And as we progressively understand this scientific advancements in the various sector, right from the agricultures to the various sectors, as we understand today, has emerged out of it. But what matters is something that in the last slides is, or rather the 3 points that need to be understood in a bigger context is, as we progressively started making use of the science technology for the betterment of the life, for the betterment of the human development, perhaps over the period we have forgotten, or we have become a negligence about where to stop, and we perhaps did not realize to what extent the kind of resources that we have should have been utilized, and how meticulously, or I would say how judiciously such kind of an facilities or some these kind of resources should have been used. And since at a certain amount of period in the last about 200 or 250 to 300 years of progressive human development, we really extracted, we exploited large amount of the Earth's natural resources, and that builds upon the new kind of an era, new kind of challenges with all of us, and that leads to the various challenges in terms of the climate change, in terms of the shortage of energy, in terms of the various pollutions that we encounter. And ultimately, what matters is to understand now that there is one special domain which is called the science, technology, innovation, which is cutting edge kind of a domain which is being developed into the very sophisticated laboratories in the higher educations or the industrial sector. But that is not the only sector or the only domain which will make the humans, or rather I would say the community and the society, to progress. But what matters is to understand that when there will be a contributions by the every citizen of the country in knowing and understanding the roles that they need to play, and especially it becomes more important for the country like us, which is largely been known as an agrarian country. And in this situation, what it becomes is to realize, understand, and ensure that the populations living across the countryside need to be progressive. But while doing that progression, what is important is to have capabilities and abilities to innovate, but at their own level. And obviously, when we say at their own level, that means with the available resources, with the available kind of a knowledge, community knowledge, individual knowledge, or the knowledge of the locality. And ultimately that leads down to understand the today's education sector in a more fertile way is to those kind of populations largely falls either into the illiterate or the people those who never have gotten chance to get the educations from the higher education sector. So that is where the domain of grassroots innovations comes in. And my institution, that is the National Innovation Foundation, is largely been working in this particular sector and in this particular population. And I have got plenty of such examples to show you that while doing such progression in the society, what matters is how these community, how these people are coming with the new kind of an technologies, new kind of an solutions for the people to the society to understand and make use of. And ultimately will show you some of the outstanding traditional knowledge products that the NIF has come up with, and how the people of what we generally call it as a marginalized people, but they are not marginalized from their own minds, but then these kind of people are still helping the large society and the country to progress in the socio-economic sector. And we'll have a wonderful such examples as we go ahead. So, to coming back to the first slide, or the understanding of the science, I think it is by and large true, and each one of you must be agreeing to me. The science is something, perhaps maybe the term per se, the science which comes from the Latin word senio, and in that context, it appears that this is something about just about a few thousand, or maybe not even few thousand. It's a few hundred years old word when it comes to this no the linguistic English. But the science is a skill or the ability of a human being which was there right from the beginning of the humanity, and more specifically right from the what we called the Homo sapien age. And what do we call it is the skill of an observations, how we look at the surrounding, understanding the surrounding, and not only to observe but experiment based on the what we learn out of it. So to give you a small example, like for example, as the humans started growing up, perhaps if we try to look at the Neolithic period of about 10,000 years, that is where we understand so-called the Homo sapiens become kind of an intelligent humans. And that is the time where you will realize the humans started understanding what is good for their health, what is good for their health to be taken, and how they should be surviving for the longer period of time. And that is where the experimentation comes into picture. To give you a small example, if I have to tell you that today we know what is the best test kind of an products that we are using. It could be a natural, it could be a man-made kind of an material, or man-made kind of an dishes that we speak about. But if you go back and stress your brain and realize that there must have been a plenty of generations which might have we must have lost in understanding what is right for our human health, because we were the species who used to have an experimentations. And that's the reason perhaps today whatsoever we know what is right, of course today doesn't mean that I'm talking about a 2025, but certainly for a very very long time, I would say about thousands years before, we realize that what is the right food, what is the right thing that we need to consume. We need to understand what is good for our health in terms of various things. Today we being a people of science, we know what is the nutritional value and so many things. But if you look at those experimental period, there must have been a long amount of generations must have lost, large amount of population we must have lost in identifying what is good, what is correct. And with these experimentations and observational skill might have also helped to understand and analyze the data, to draw the various conclusions, what could be the good for the humans, what could might not be good for the humans. Because by that time the huge amount of various species were around, what we call it as now we have got so many different kind of fodder kind of an animals which we know, and by observing them, understanding them, analyzing them, drawing the conclusions, was the something which was part of our human civilizations, or rather I would say the values of a humans as an most intelligent species on the earth. Then obviously by all this way, what we ultimately end up in getting the various solutions to the various problems that we come encounter. And progressively, and if you look at those ideas and solutions have helped for the human development, and progressively we started developing ourselves. And in the process of the development, we know that we enhanced our capabilities, we enhanced our requirements, and becoming an easy or meaningful life, and we started living more I would say the meaningful lives as we progressed in the whole extent. And that's where we can say that the science become a guiding principle for the humanity. And that is the where I call it as it's a very cyclic process, that the science help the humans to develop human development, again force the science to continue the progressions, continue to explore more and more, and again come back to the development. So science is developing humanity, humanity is developing science, science is again developing humanity, which is a continuous cyclic process. And this is a small example which I would like to stress you all, that though I spoke for about millennia before in the first slide, But let me take you back to the just about 100 years before. This is what is the ultimate outcome of so-called the modern science and understanding. That if you look at the health and longevity of the people or humans by the at the global and the national scenario, so you could realize that by the 19th hundred, the global average age or the longevity of the human life was just 32 of the age, or that is the 32 years of our age. But by the progressively as we go ahead, if we speak today by the 2021, we know that the global life expectancy of the people, because of the large amount of improvements and the understanding of the various tools, technologies, and the various health sector progression, then the global life expectancy of the humans have grown to the 71 years. So the average age of a life, that average age of a person to live with the healthy lifestyle is about 71 years of age. And if we look at the India in more specific, India was also, I mean, at par with the global standards and global understanding. So in India also, at the around 1900, the average age of the humans were about 24 years, and today it again is equitable to the global average age of the life. So this is a clear outcome, and this is a clear evidence of how the science or progressive science has helped for the humanities to go and understand the things in the more details. Then ultimately, if we'll have to give a credit for all this, then obviously the credit comes because of the large amount of investment or large amount of dedications put in by the large nations, especially for the educations, for the human capital, for the science literacy, and so many things. And today also you could see that the as far as the global scenario is concerned, almost before the 1900, the global literacy rate was only 20%. Today, at the global level, the literacy is around 87%. And the picture is again same as the global scenario. By 1951, our population was only 18% of our population was illiterate or educated, as compared to today, where we stand almost nearby to the global number, and we have got nearly 78% of our population which is educated, knowing the understanding various aspects of the growth and progression. So what matters for any civilizations, any society, is to have a more and more investment into the education. So we need to have a more and more funding, especially in terms of the education sector. And when it comes to the various streams, then obviously the large amount of funding needs to have in terms of the science or mathematics or the programs towards that. And ultimately, entire education's mechanism and systems is going to help for what is to have a more skilled workforce. And it becomes more important for all of us when we are the people of the India, which has got the highest population in the world today. So today, as we all know, we are the the largest population nation, which is around 1.41 or 42 billion people, which is tremendously large in number. So we need to emphasize upon, we need to accelerate that, and we used to make use of it. We need to take this as an advantage and try to make the skilled workforce. And of course, in what sector is to develop is in the skilled and kind of and development, either to have more and more engineers, more and more skilled employees, researchers, educators, so that we will be in a positions to make use of this particular aspect for the benefit of the society. And ultimately, what matters is that once you have got a wonderful skilled workforce, then we can expect large amount of capabilities in terms of the innovations from all these people, in terms of the more and more ideas, more and more technologies, more and more the aspects that to come and help the society. So this is something that we all need to understand, and that is where we all need to emphasize upon. And there is a very good, a kind of an example that we could here fetch up and understand that as the human society was progressing to a large extent, when the populations even at the global scale was quite low by around 17, 18, or maybe till the 19th century, because not much of the science was progressing, not much of the longevity of the people was was able to sustain. So obviously, with whatsoever the knowledge that I mean, of course, this knowledge was not with a particular person or with particular community. It was been spread across the various civilizations, and that's what we have found. And that is where you realize that this traditional knowledge become an important aspect for the entire populations to be fed upon. And that is where you all are aware that in terms of the agriculture, in terms of the need of the people, the traditional farming and traditional knowledge was helping to a large extent. But progressively, as the science started helping for a more and more secured and what you call the healthy life to have it, then obviously the population started growing up with the whatsoever the capacity that we used to produce the yield or the food for the people, we started falling short of it. And we all are having plenty of such examples. It was not perhaps true only for the country like India, but it was very true for various countries across the globe, that because of the good health conditions and improvements in the lifestyle of the people, we started feeling short of the food. And that is where the new initiatives of green revolution came in. There will be then we have seen that there are a lot of improved practices have grown. Large amount of various crops have been developed. Those are the what you call it, the disease resistant crops we developed. We improved our practices in terms of the irrigation, fertilizations, crop production. And obviously, when we started growing more and more kind of a crop, then what was more important to realize that all the byproduct, all the yield that we used to come up with should also be having highest nutritional values. And because of the progression in the science and technology, we started investing more in the research as well. And we realized that for what you call it as a biofortification, through which we increase the nutrients values in the various products, or various, I would say, the grains or the foods that we started growing up. So we started growing the new kind of varieties which are the climate resilience. So to an extent, one can say by all these efforts, what ultimately ended up is that we become a food secured humanity. And obviously, once your basic needs are complete, then obviously the people will try to go for more and more comfort zone. And that comfortability is something that you could see that from agrarian civilizations, we started moving towards the industrialization. And that is what we have seen. As the people started progressing, our food requirements got fulfilled. We started exploring more and more, because we have started getting more and more time. We started thinking about how to progress. Well, it's not only limits to the progress, but how to make use of our own time and to improve our quality of the life. And we started realizing what we call it as a different kind of when societies living in a different part of the globe, whatever the surplus at one place could be deficiency at the other place. And exchanging all those kind of materials started coming up with the help of a trade. And we all know today the trade is more important, when it especially today when we realize the kind of wars that we are in. So obviously trade and commerce has started becoming more important. In fact, and trade and commerce has of prima more important when it comes to the industrialization, because we know that there are some of the sectors having more and more amount of resources, I would say rather the raw material at one particular part of the globe. We need to have that material, raw material, to be shifting from one place to other for the various kind of convenience that we have developed over the period. So industrialization has now forced us to have more and more commerce and trade in the vicinity, and we have seen that, and we have been seeing it now very closely. So ultimately, what has happened because of that? And now I come back to the time period of nearly last 300, 50 years of time, and more specifically, if more empathetically, if I had to speak, then I speak only for about the last 40 to 50 years time. And what happened is, today we realize that every sector or every industrial sector, whether it is a textile industry, metallurgy industry, electrical power industry, transport industry, chemical industry, anything or any kind of industries that we look at, whether it is aviation, electronics, or even for that matter, today's modern or contemporaries, industries of AI or automation industry. Now, if you just, this is a sample that I'm trying to put in front of you to realize that in the every industrial sector, though it is helping the humans to have a easy life or more comfort life, but at the end, what has happened with all this industrialization is the more and more exploitation of natural resources, more and more kind of problems that we started creating. For example, because of the large amount of textile industry, we come up with the water and air pollution. With the metallurgy industries, we started polluting air and soil because of the large amount of ores being excavated, large amount of what you call purifications of those metals started coming up. All the waste was being thrown out in the as an garbage on the grounds. Then obviously the soil contamination was bound to happen. Similarly, when we look at the power sector or the power energy generation, when it comes from the fuel, what you call it as a fossil fuel, then obviously a large amount of what you call the carbon emissions, more specifically the greenhouse gases emissions, was in the empty number. In terms of the transport industry, more and more noise pollutions, more and more energy, the air pollution started growing up. So you look at any industry sector, to an extent, they do give us a comfort, they do give us a large amount of easy going aspect, but at the end of the day, every sector or the every kind of an industry have come up with the large amount of new problems for all of us to understand and to tackle with. Even for that matter, when we speak about the AI, AI, ML, or maybe the LLM, which is a large language machines and all. So ultimately, what is happening is we are still now going to have a struggle for looking at the high electric capacity demand, thinking about the e-waste which is getting generated out of it. So ultimately, the problem is that everything is going to boils down to the environmental consequences, and that is where now we all need to emphasize upon. We need to understand that if we'll have to have a science, technology, innovations, or anything for that matter, what is more important is to look at every of this aspect from the point of view of a sustainability. Anything that we try to look at, we need to look at for the anything that we extract, anything that we try to make use of, how can we make that for the longevity, for the long generations, for the long amount of civilizations to be used. So what is the prime focus today is about the science for sustainability, and that is where you all know that we are emphasizing upon understanding the environmental challenges from the perspective of sustainability, developing the solutions for the environmental sustainability, for climate change also. We are looking for the various solutions in from this sector. We are looking for the renewable energy sources, could be solar, it could be wind energy, then obviously hydro. All these are renewable energy sources that we are looking for having energy sufficient material. And of course, we trying to make use of an carbon capture method so that very less amount of carbons are being emitted into the environment, and we can keep the earth very free and fine. Now that is where the all till this particular point I was speaking about, which was we started our journey right from the beginning, and we reached to a time where the need or the comfort of the people have emerged with the large amount of various industrialization sectors, and then we land up in the more and more problems. And to give you small examples today, what has happened now, in fact this is true not only with the others, but even it is true for us as well. Now if you look at the country like India, now in this, now we you see the amount of populations which is migrated in the metro cities. If you talk about the major 4 to 5 metro cities, which we call the tier 1 cities, especially the Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore. So these have become a cities of the highest dominance, which is have a largest amount of migrations, and obviously the large amount of people have been transported from the countryside and got concentrated in the certain sectors. Please remember, bringing them, accommodating them to fulfill the industrial requirement also going to have repercussions, and we have seen, and in fact we have a lot of issues today. You have seen that majority of our tier 1 cities are also facing huge amount of problems in terms of the electricity requirement, in terms of the water, in terms of the resources that is going to be required. So these are all the problems that we are facing, and this intensity of those problems are going to be higher and higher. So, in fact, not only that, the migration of the people, the employability of the people, the job perspective of the people, the skilled and non-skilled employment. So, everything is becoming a problems of every aspect to be faced upon, to looked upon. So, I think what is now needed, and the where do the solution lies, is to democratize, is to ensure that whatever the resources that we have, which we have by whatever the mean that we have pulled at one place or to an important places at averaged over the various part of the country, we need to decentralize it, we need to distribute it, we need to have a mechanism in place by which we will be in a positions to disintegrate it. But now what do you mean by a disintegration or decentralization or dissemination is to ensure that the people need not have to move from their own locations. They should get their comfort life, they should be able to have the more and more satisfying kind of lives at their own places. But then how it is going to happen? And if it has to happen in that way, it is equally important to understand, to strengthen that kind of a populations which is living in the countryside. And when it comes to the countryside populations, the country like us, though today we have got nearly 65% of our, or in fact my number or my figure might be wrong, but we have got a very good literacy rate in the nation. But every literate person is not need to have a job, or rather we need not have to think for the job. But what is important, that to make these people capable enough to solve the problems of their own, and by because, and that is where the National Innovation Foundation is also been emphasizing upon. And what matters is to give the solutions to their local problems at the local level, and it starts the journey right from the frugal innovations to the entire ecosystem of the innovation chain, incubation value chain, by which we ensure that any idea, any innovations coming from those sector need to have more and more strength, more could be giving them more and more facilities, so that the kind of innovations or the kind of solutions that they are trying to come up with will be more democratized in a fashion that all the ideas, all the intelligence that they hold should remain with them, and they should be in a positions to convert that idea innovations into the product. And to happen that, what is important is to have a empirical observational skill, experimentation and reasoning at the local level, and obviously to have a technology integrations for to have it happen. And you will see that NIF has got plenty of such examples when we try to dig into the ideas and the innovations that NIF has. So it becomes more important for all of us to understand how do we define the grassroots innovations and traditional knowledge. I'm sure. Why am I trying to tell you about all this, especially to the all faculty of the higher educations, because you all are coming from the higher education domain, and you will be the people need to face these young generations, because they will be coming with the n number of ideas, n number of thought process, and they might be discussing with you what is important as an motivator, as a mentor, as an what you called as a guiding principle. Please encourage them to have those ideas, solutions at their own level, instead of trying to go behind to the particular kind of a sector, or moving towards the more and more populated area. Motivate them so that their ideas, their work, their intelligence can be utilized for the larger section of the society. So here also, when we try to look for the grassroots innovations, where do we work? So we basically work for the people, those who have their own ideas. They have either individual or community knowledge which they have, how and they get motivated with their own ideas and the problems, and try to use their own knowledge based, either it could be one called as a indigenous knowledge with the individual or a community, try to make use of that knowledge for for the benefit of ensuring that the resources are being made available from the local areas. All the practices that are there are of the local in nature, and which has got the all distinctiveness in terms of what you call it as requirements in terms of all the things that they to make it happen. So what is important in understanding this importance of the grassroots innovation is that all these innovations comes from the very basic and frugal in nature, which have a capacity and capabilities to generate the local livelihood for those people. And obviously, when they are able to generate the livelihood at their own level, then it will definitely reduce the migration. And this kind of a knowledge, this kind of a skill, this kind of ideas will be more preserved, and will be quite away from getting it extincted. So that is something that we try to emphasize upon. Now, when it comes to the NIF's grassroots eligibility criteria, what is our focused area? What is our target area? So, as I said, you people are giving the training. You are teaching them. You are going to be part of the formal educations, wherein when the child is going to come to you, he will be almost very well versed with the basic understanding of science, basic understanding of technology, and to an extent a good amount of knowledge that he holds. But the people, those who are catering to the NIF, they are either a school dropout, or if they are going up to the only school level up to 12th class. They are either just an ITI holders, or they are the simple polytechnic students with the very very basic kind of ideas of science and technology that they have. So we really look forward for those people. Those are coming from the non-formal sector. They come from the those areas, non-technical workers, and obviously the people who does not have any science and technology background. So our entire NIF scatters on those kind of people around. And obviously, to whom we do not entertain, or to whom we do not look at, then obviously in one line answer is everybody who comes to you. I mean, when I'm addressing to all of you who are all in the teaching profession, in the higher education, everybody who is coming to you, especially if you are coming from the fundamental science courses, or the people or the students of the science or applied science nature, we don't help them out, because they are the one, those who have got down the line a good kind of an probability of getting connected with the good resources. So the students who have got the S&T courses are ineligible for us. the professionals or graduates who have S&T background, then obviously the employees who are the employees from the technical and scientific background, self-employed professions with the good amount of background knowledge about the science or professional degrees, and obviously the retired people, those who have been part of the S&T sector at some point of time. So we don't really try to work for them, because there is a full wide education system is open for them, and they will be taken care by all these sectors. Now, when it comes to the NIF's approach and how do we look into that and how do we get into all this, then obviously in terms of the NIF approach is concerned, we at the first level do the scouting. We do a large amount of scouting. We have got a many, I would say, more than 2 dozen of people who are doing the scouting at the entire countryside. Even today, while I'm giving us talk to all of you, at least a dozen of our people are on the field and trying to identify these knowledge holders, these innovators. They are trying to solve the problems of their own with the whatever the resources that they have. So this scouting documentation process is something which is ongoing, and we do it against various biennial competitions. We move around, we collect those informations, we document it, and we keep it under the database management system. And obviously, not every idea or every data that we receive is falls under the value addition and research development, for very obvious reason, because of the strength or because of the people that we have. So what matters is wherever we have got a scope, wherever we have got a, abilities to take this forward, so it all limits to the kind of human resources are available with us. So right now we are working in a four major domain, that is engineering, human health, veterinary science, and agriculture. So we consider those innovations, claims, and ideas. We take them more forward. In fact, more specifically, where there is what we call it as a low hanging fruits, the where there is a probability that such kind of an ideas or innovations can, with this small amount of contributions by through the ward team, these kind of innovations can come to the market level. They can be come up with the prototype, and then obviously move ahead in the ladders of the TRL level. And those kind of innovations we try to accelerate, we try to move ahead, and in the process what matter is we try to protect the intellectual property of all these ideas and innovations coming from the grassroots. And every of the idea that it comes up and reaches up to a certain level, we try to protect them on their name with the help of the all the requirements by our own NIFs, in terms of the finance, in terms of the what you call technical support, in any other thing. And we try to develop that into the product. One can say it basically moves from the TRL level, right from the 1 to about 5 to 6 level. And then subsequently in some of these level we actually come up with the very good products as well. So obviously our business development team try to take that into the channel and try to make sure that they gets a good business out of it, and we will see that in more details. So obviously some of the innovations and ideas and technologies are best judged, or rather best can be utilized through the what you call the social diffusion and dissemination, because which has got the more important criteria, that is the livelihood generations, or the people of large need across the society. So it could be either helping for the employment generation, it could be helping for drudgery reduction, all such innovations and technologies that we take to the people through our dissemination and social diffusion team. And obviously when we do all that, we also try to ensure that all our efforts continue to go in a right direction. For that we do a large amount of impact analysis studies. We also come up as and when possible to come up with the policy framework document based on the ideas, based on the work that we carry out. And we continue this work in our institutions as important matter for further taking through the publications and communication division. Now, coming to the where do we stand today in terms of the NIF? If you try to look at, this is what is the cycle that we follow. So at the first level, we do large amount of scouting. We collect the entries, we collect the claim, we collect the data through either through the emails, through the letters, through the what you called as a Shodha and then obviously all that what we do is bring those ideas and innovations at one place, and we process those entry and differentiate in a four major stream that we have. Obviously every claim, every idea, every kind of innovations that comes to us does not really fall under the category of innovation, because we need to put on large amount of efforts to identify the real innovation, and in the process you will see there is a large amount of data get rejected, either because it must be a replication of somebody's work, it could be a same idea but perhaps that might be new to that community, that particular person, to that particular locality, but it is actually an extension of somewhere else. So we reject such kind of an ideas and innovations, and there is large amount of innovations which falls under the public knowledge domain as well, because over the period that knowledge is being dispersed and is being largely used, widely used by the various people. So those knowledge also we don't take it forward for further value chain mechanism, but then large amount of data still falls into the acceptable category. There is in some of the claims and the innovations we need to do a lot of what you called as a to and fro for getting more and more information, need to have a lot of verification works to be carried out. So the large amount of data also falls in the explore category, which subsequently either get accepted, get rejected, or fall into the PKD. So anything that we look at, so only accepted entries been taken to the next level, and that's what we do at NIF. So this is a small pie graph that I have to just give you the example. Where do the data of NIF falls in? So when I have to tell you that how many of the data is available, then obviously over the last 5 to 6 different biannual competitions, you will see when you look at the top pie graph, then except the rejected and PKD, both accepted and explode, if we consider jointly together, then 21 plus 39 makes down to about a 60% of our data is something which demands, which requires the real attention of the people, and there is a substance in that where we, given the opportunity, we can actually try to convert those ideas, either could be into the product through the various chains that we need to follow. So such kind of a technologies, given the opportunity, have got a chance to serve for the society, for the individual, for the various things, if it been taken in a right appropriate fashion. Now when we classify all those entries into the major four stream where the NIF is presently focusing upon, that is engineering, agriculture, veterinary science, and human health, there is a one clear indications that you could see nearly 52% of our data falls into the human health. That means this is nothing but the outstanding traditional knowledge of our people. As you could imagine, the country like us, which is such a widespread, have got a large amount of populations living in the various geographical or what you call a demographic locations. We have got a coast, we have got a hills, we have got a plain, we have got so many different kind of variety of the natural what you call the aspects with us, and in that what matters is that we have got a large amount of outstanding knowledge with the individuals or community, and especially when we look at this you could see that many of our ideas or innovations are falling into the human health category. So one can say, given the opportunity, we can actually realize that if we put on a good amount of efforts, we will be able to come up with this kind of a knowledge and products. This is an example of whatever the claims or ideas or innovations that we have collected, and which are largely been falling into the public knowledge domain, wherein all the data that you could see, is of the largely been known to the people. Like this is where I can give the examples of the innovations or the technologies coming from the turmeric, coming from the what you called is neem, all those kind of things that are there, which is widely been known across the people. Now, when it comes to the NIF's various domain, this is the long chain through which these innovations or ideas go through, and as complicated the what you called as this block diagram appears, these many number of steps are involved. When it is agriculture, one can say that this is either it could be a plant variety or it could be a plant protection, and obviously to get it validated, to get it verified, it requires large amount of time and efforts by our team. And subsequently, when we get a confidence about the idea or the innovations which has got the good potentials to be protected, then we go for, if it is agriculture, we go for the Plant Protection Variety and Farmers Right Act, where these kind of varieties get registered against the name of the innovator. Similarly, if it is a technology, if it is coming from the for the human health or veterinary science or engineering, we go for the intellectual property through the patent granting and the protection of patents, IP, through our own efforts. So this is a large amount of work and channels that you could see. So when once the innovation or idea is been scouted, to start the real journey of such innovations, there is a what you called is a time for them, that is the what you call the buffer time, and that ranges from about 1 to 3 years time. And once the journey starts, then the process actually get accelerated. But once it reaches to the VARD level, that is value addition research development level, then subsequently the process are being taken up, but in whatsoever manner, still it requires a good amount of time, because they will have to fall onto the every requirement of the modern science. They have to for understand and satisfy every required conditions to be falling into the domain of science and technology. It needs to get validated, it needs to get verified, it needs to go through all the required kind of processes, and that time is not less than a couple of years to about a 5 years time or so. So any innovation which reaches to us requires the entire incubation time for about 2 years to down the line up to 7 to 8 years. And ultimately, when we come to the product development stage. Just a minute. And as I said, this is the time in the TRL level we consider that they reach up to the prototype level, or that is the time where we actually look for the good opportunities for these products to be either taken up, or if that a particular innovator is interested to become an entrepreneur, we try to help them out in whatever the best possible that we have. So under the business development, we try to improve, I mean, we try to encourage them for developing the entrepreneurship skill with them. We try to develop them towards the startup no, facility. Or if that particular person is not interested in that, then we, and if he or she is ready to do the technology transfer, then we also expedite, we help them for the technology transfer. And if you remember, I said at one point of time that the every technology need not really go through the same channel, that is commercial or non-commercial channel, but there could be a best way to judge to all these technologies is through the what you call the diffusion and dissemination. And here we tie up with large amount of government officials or government institutions. We try to tap them up through the NGOs or local groups, through the exhibitions, and ensure that such kind of technologies are being taken by the people, by the community, by the kind of an institutions, so that it can largely be used for various purposes. And this is a small pie graph which tells you that when we have got nearly 3.5 lakhs of data points with us, only about 2% of our data is actually coming to the final stage because of large amount of constraint that we could imagine that we have, because of the human resources that we have, because of the time it takes to progress upon. So there is a large amount of scope that the data that we holds will go ahead. And now let me come to the last part of my presentation, where I am trying to give you some of the examples of our innovators, which are absolutely a grassroots innovator. This is an example of Mr. Sri or Subhash Ola, who is from Alwar in Rajasthan. He is a school dropout person, and he was actually working for the mawa making, kind of an factory. He himself was started with that. And obviously, if you remember, in for doing that, there is a large requirement of energy that used to happen through the boiler. And subsequently, he got fascinated and thought about how the energy, or how the efficiency of such boiler can be improved, how the some fuel consumptions or maybe the water can be saved. And in the process, NIF have, when Subhash Ola approached NIF, we started working on it. And you, to an surprise, you will realize that with the good amount of efforts by us, with the help of the R&D institutions across, what ultimately a boiler become, which we call it as a modified boiler, which started saving about 30% of the fuel and absolutely 80% of water, because the waste that was coming up as in water, which was condensed water, still used to have a large amount of heat with them, about 50 to 60 or 65 the degree temperature, which was further need to upgrade and bring to the level of boiling, that is to the become a steam. And with this process, we this boiler got modified, and it really become an energy efficient. Fuel consumption becomes very less. And today you will see that this kind of boilers are now not only limits to the what you call mawa making machine, but now it has gone quite ahead, and it has started investing into the various sectors in the textile, that you could see various factories, milk factories also, you could see these kind of boilers are being now installed. We have got another innovator from Punjab, Mr. Talvinder Singh, who has developed the straw reaper. And we all know that the Punjab is largely been working in the wheat as well as the rice sector. And he developed the straw reaper, which actually cuts the what you called straws up to a certain inches only. And with the tractor mounting facility of 60 hectare HP tractor, which also use the less amount of fuel and good amount of speed and accuracy that is able to do. And with these kind of interventions, and there also we help for Talvinder Singh to come up with the low cost straw reaper. And today he sells this straw reaper by his own in and around the vicinity of Punjab. And you could see the examples that we have. The third example here is a paddy straw cutter for the mushroom cultivation. Here also the person from the Odisha Dhankanal, that is Mr. Ajay Kumar Prusti, you could see that. I mean, I hope you all know that as far as the mushroom is concerned, mushroom cultivation requires a certain very specified kind of straws required for this kind of mushroom cultivation. And it has got its very well defined specific size and no kind of a design. And for that, this person has developed straw cutter. And with the help of this straw cutter, he was able to generate his not only the livelihood, but because of this, now there was a large amount of this straw cutter was being installed by him and the near vicinity. And there is now you will see the large amount of saving of the people, money, saving of the time has happened. And now this straw cutter has been of the help for large amount of people. And this also improved the mushroom cultivation in and around the area that you could see. There are various examples. There is a child who gave the idea about the iron, solar iron, through which, given the opportunity with the solar cell, these iron man can hot or make his iron hot with the solar cells, and can actually make use of it. So we also realized that one-time investment of about 40 to 45,000, this kind of dobbies actually are able to make use of, and they can actually within a 1 years of what you call the return on the product. With that, the rest of the time he can make use of this kind of products for long time for the revenue generation. And this idea actually came from a school going children, that is a class 8 student from Tamil Nadu, and we patented it, and we have got such examples here also in our own NIF's premises. We tested it, and it has coming up with the good results as well. This is the coconut shredder. You all know in the coastal areas there is a large amount of coconuts are being grown, and to generate the what you call the cocoa peat and cocoa fiber, these kind of good amount of raw material available with them. With this small intervention of technology, now large amount of people in their own backyard are installing this and are able to generate the cocoa fiber and cocoa peat with this small kind of machines that they have. This has been developed by Aladi Prabhakar from Karimnagar in Telangana, and this is also a person who is illiterate person but use this. So these are all some of the examples which I have shown it to you, but these are the some of the rewards that you could see. All these innovators, through the NIF's effort, they get recognized at the various places, and we try to help them out to get them recognized by the various people. Today we have got nearly 13 such innovators which are being honored with the fourth largest civilian award by the government of India. So these are all nearly 13 Padma awardees that we have, and they all come from the grassroots level. Our Honorable Prime Minister have also spoken about them in his Man Ki Baat in the various occasions on the various editions of his Man Ki Baat, and these are also been honored by us at some point of time. So these are all some of the technologies. When it comes to the engineering, you could see that these technologies are available in large in number. Now, what here I am trying to emphasize upon, all these technologies are of the use for their own day-to-day need, and these technologies with the smaller investment, they can actually make use of it. The innovators can supply such kind of material. Now, only need is to have these connect with the large amount of people, because country is being, India is being such a vast country. There are there are so many similar situations are there, because we have got 7,000 kilometers of coastal line, but the innovations generated in the east coast can be of use to the west coast. So that way that we could see that there are many equal problems that we have, and there are, instead of reinventing the wheel, or instead of making another efforts, knowing and understanding these things can help for better understanding. So these are all some of the innovations from the agriculture. We have got a plenty of such varieties being developed by our farmers. We call them as a progressive farmers, and n number of such varieties have got registered. We have got nearly 48 such varieties today, right from the mango, apple, onion, what you call it as a garlic, everything, that turmeric, everything that you could see. These are the special innovations or the products that we have in the market today. So in terms of the human health, we have got our people are working here on the various what you call ailment here, right from the blood pressure, right from the headache to the what you called it as a no, basically, right from the anti-epilepsy to the various, kind of aspect, anti-ulcer. So, in a way, we have got a plenty of people are working on their, kind of a knowledge system. and we are trying to bring those products in the market. It takes a long time, no doubt about it, but the efforts are on. In terms of the veterinary science also, you could see there are large amount of products which are there in the market. So here also you could see the large amount of participation no coming up, right from the identifying the problems to identify the innovations to match the solution, and ultimately to uplift the social status of the people. So this is what we have been doing in the NIF for very, very long time. And today, this is a NIF's work in nutshell. We have been trying to do all this work for last 25 years. Now, to conclude my presentation, what I'm trying to emphasize here for all, because you all come from the higher education sector, uh, these are all some of the examples that I have tried to show you. And I wish that with this, what you need is to make the young generation who is coming to you for getting not their only degrees, but to get more knowledgeable, get skilled. Please make them aware that the people of our country are more creative, more innovative. But instead of migrating to only one part of the urbanized area, it is always better to get scattered around and try to make use of your knowledge for their benefit, and mutually we both can come together and make the society more informed, more knowledgeable, and more product oriented, and we can come up with large amount of such products for the benefit of the society. And I'm sure with this kind of an support, our socio economy of the country will be lifted to a large extent. And with this, I stop myself with thank you to all as well as the organizers, and thanks for listening to me with patience. And I am now available for the questions if you have. Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Rafi, for giving me this opportunity. Now I stop. If you have questions, we can go ahead, or otherwise we can take a break to go for the validatory. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Participants are now requested that the session is open for question and answer, and the organizing team now has allowed the participant that they can unmute themselves. So it is now requested that if any participant have any question, they can unmute themselves. They can open the camera and mic, and they can ask the question. Participants can open the camera. आपके कोई सवाल है? लैंग्वेज इज नॉट एन बैरियर. आपके कोई सवाल है हिंदी में भी आप पूछ सकते हो. लैंग्वेज इज नॉट लिमिटेड टू इंग्लिश ओनली. आपकी कोई शंका है, सवाल है, आप पूछ सकते हो. So if no questions are there,
Can take a
uh,
break, no?
we can go for validatory. No questions are
Okay.
there. So Amul, I would now request you to start the banner and the university song.
गीत आमुचे आकाशाचे
गीत आमुचे सागराचे इतिहासाचे जनावनाचे गीत आमुचे दिवे लख घरो घर संत महंतांचे विरागी गीत आमुचे कागडाचे इतिहासाचे जनावराचे गीत आमुचे जागराचे तंतु तंतु संघर्षाचा पैठणीत भिनलेला
नक्षीतच पक्षी पक्षी विजयाचा विरलेला
सोन पहाट उदयाचे गीत आमुचे उजेडाचे इतिहासाचे जनावराचे गीत आमुचे जागराचे प्रज्ञेचा सूर्य नवा शब्द शब्द उजळून गेला समतेचा संगराचा अर्थ ढाळून गेला विराट विशाल संस्कृतीचे गीत आमुचे जीवनाचे इतिहासाचे जनावराचे गीत आमुचे जागराचे गीत आमुचे आकाशाचे गीत आमुचे सागराचे इतिहासाचे जनावराचे गीत आमुचे जागराचे
Thank you, Amul. You can stop the university song. So on behalf of UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, I welcome today's guest for this valedictory session, Dr. Arvind Ranade sir, who is Director, National Innovation Foundation, New Delhi. Also, I welcome today President of this valedictory function, Director of this UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, Professor Dhanashri Mahajan ma'am. Professor Dhanashri Mahajan ma'am is Senior Professor of Economics at our university. Her research interests span industrial economics, international economic, and public economics. Dr. Mahajan has held various academic positions such as Head of University Department of Economics, Chief Coordinator of UGC Center with the Potential for Excellence and Dean Faculty of Humanity, and she has published 12 books and research papers, has guided several PhD and MPhil students. Dr. Mahajan is currently leading an international research project titled Widening Access to Higher Education in India, Institutional Approach, in collaboration with University of Warwick, London, and the Center for Policy of Research in Higher Education, New Delhi. So, not taking much time, I would request our chief guest, Dr. Arvind Ranade sir, to deliver a valedictory address to all of us.
Thank you, Professor Rafi. At the outset, I congratulate Professor Mahajan, Director of Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, and all the faculties who have joined for this course. And today is the concluding day. I think the way I could see that the response by the professionals, teachers from across the country. The whole idea of such kind of a training program is to get the idea about various, I would say, the contemporary issues, contemporary ideas, the contemporary domain of the importance today that the entire faculty stream must be aware about. And down the line, when the young generations are coming up for expecting with the large amount of scope and hopes that by the time they come out of this institutions, they will be either get a very easy going kind of employment, or maybe in terms of when they come out of this education system, they are the most satisfied soul. And to have that happen, it is equally important for every faculty or every professional to to stand the expectations of the child when the person or the student comes to the institutions of the prime importance. Because number one, he hardly have an idea about either the subject matter expertise, the domain where he or she is trying to look as a career. The second is aspect is that not much of their life that they have spent and understand the world together. So what matters and important for all of them is to have a what you call as the parental care, as well as to have a mentoring. And to do that, what matters is that there is a proverb called that jack of all. So at least every faculty, whether he or she comes from the arts or the commerce or the science or the applied science, now today, more specifically, we speak about the STEM education. So when it comes to the kind of domains and topics, it is equally important that every faculty has got a reasonable enough idea that how the pragmatic world that the student will have to face as they come out of this education system. So it becomes so important for every faculties to cope up with, to understand the minimum required understanding of the world together. Because ultimately, when they come out, they should not only be looking as an employment as the only option for them. What matters is that when they come out of the this education sector, they should be capable enough to understand the world and understand their own responsibility. Is one is called the moral responsibility, another is called the scientific responsibility, and third is a social responsibility. Now, all that can happen when the faculties of all our education sector have got a sufficient ideas and informations about where do the world is moving around, where do the country like us, and especially it becomes more important for us, the country like us, where in the large amount of young generation is available. We need to have their thought process clear. We need to make them understand that given the opportunity, if you try to imbibe the values with you, if you try to get your skill upgraded, there is a plenty of this opportunities are awaiting for you. So giving them a confidence that to be a successful person in the life, what is important is to have your thoughts which are aligned with the national goals by the way that defines at every point of time by the various state and the national governments, the policies that are being put forward. So I expect that the whole idea of such kind of a faculty development program is to bring every kind of a faculty at one pedestal with the minimum required understanding. And that is where when you invite various experts, you ensure that every subject matter expertise, every domain is being touched upon, whether it is economics, whether it is art, whether it is what you call the applied science, engineering, medical, everything that you. So it becomes a responsibility of each one of us that when the very fertile brain with all kind of expectations they come to this institution, we should be in a positions to give them a sufficient ideas to stand up in their life as they come out of this education system and be a successful person they should become proud not only for themselves but the proud for the society as well, to imbibe the values, to make them stand straight and of the great support to the society. And especially in the today's time, it becomes more important because as we see the AI/ML or the new issues are coming up where there is a large amount of scope that the these young brains or young minds will get diverted for the easy going kind of a life. So making them aware about all the nuances which are likely to happen, and what are all the strength that they need to gain. And that is what I think we as a collectively need to understand this. And that's the whole idea about this faculty development program. And I have a lot of trust on all of you. I'm confident the people of your stature, your kind of an academics will definitely do that, and we all will make our nation proud by making the young generations to stand to the expectations of not only with their parents but society do expect them to stand up high and make our country a very very proud country. Let's make our nation proud, and every one of us will help in making that happen. So thank you so much for giving this opportunity to address to all of you. I look forward. We have a successful time ahead, and as and when we'll get an opportunity, we will also meet in person as well. With this, thank you, Director Ma'am, and thank you, Professor Rafi, for giving this opportunity. Thank you so much. Dhanyawad.
Thank you, sir. Indeed, always Dr. Arvind Ranade sir has extended his helping hand when it comes to this UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center. Always he have uh, delivered the knowledge to our participants. So we are really thankful to him that again today, out of his busy schedule, he has spared his valuable time. So I would now request our Honorable Director, Senior Professor Dhanashri Mahajan ma'am, to deliver a presidential remark to this valedictory session.
Thank you, Dr. Rafi. It was really enlightening. Our chief guest of this valedictory session, Dr. Arvind Ranade, Director, National Innovation Foundation. While his lecture was going on, I attended I think for 15-20 minutes, I was there in the session, listening to him when he was elaborating what, marvelous innovations even those who are school dropouts or even school students have achieved, and these innovations have been recognized by the government. So definitely the new national education policy, the spirit of national education policy, I think lies in this spirit of innovation, because if we look at the history of human civilization, it is actually history of innovation that man has made, and we have made so much progress and have come so far. As Ranade sir has correctly said, science has contributed quite a lot to human development, as it is evident from the fact that our life expectancy has increased from around 32 years to 70 years globally. So definitely innovations play a very great role in improving the standard of living of people. Now, for a country like India, where we actually happen to be, as teachers, we happen to be the torch bearers, and we are supposed to be lighting the torch, because when we light a torch which is in the hands of others, we don't lose anything. So, in economics, we say that knowledge is a public good. But now we have to deliver knowledge in a different way altogether, in a different fashion altogether. I think in the process of learning, what is more important is to unlearn in the first place, because we are in a period of transition where we have shifted on and moved on from Macaulay's system of education to this new system of education, where we need to, make our students, encourage them to question us, because that is what will, bring out innovation. So what I think is, as teachers, we have to communicate very clearly, and then we have to build a trust, build a bond of trust with our students. And then we need to have a vision which we can paint in front of them regarding what expectations we have. Because as a nation, we say that we have demographic dividend. What does it mean? It means that the population which belongs to the young age group, is in majority in our country. And this dividend is going to last for some 30 years or so. So this is the time when we can make the most of this. And I think that the National Innovation Foundation and the encouragement that teachers, all over the country, they can play a very great role in encouraging this innovation, which begins with curiosity. So we need students who have curious minds, who question the teachers, because whatever comes from this side is always correct, is a very, bad thing. And we are in the process of, exchanging ideas. So what we do in the course of teaching is that we exchange ideas. And as it has been rightly said by someone, that if I have an idea and you have an idea, and if I have an exchange of ideas, we have multiple ideas. Everyone is having a lot of ideas. And just like Steve Jobs had said once, that it is about connecting the dots. And as teachers, we are facilitators, nothing else. And we need to, change the way we deliver lectures. It has to be more interactive. And how we can do it in an innovative manner is what, all these courses and programs that we conduct at MMTTC are about. So, of course, as Ranade sir has rightly said, we have complete faith in our teaching community, and definitely we will be, we will be able to kindle that kind of a spark in amongst the students, and they will turn out to be innovators and entrepreneurs. So I think we need to have a clear picture of what we want our students to be, what are our expectations from them, and accordingly we can mold with exchange of ideas. That is all that I can say at the moment. So thank you so much, Ranade sir. Thank you, Dr. Rafi, for conducting this so smoothly. And thanks to all the participants who have been so attentive. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
सर अनुमति कीजिए.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words for concluding this 27th NEP orientation and sensitization course conducted by our Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center under the able leadership of Professor Dhanashri Mahajan, ma'am. So, with the permission of our president, I declare that this valedictory session is over, and I would request all the persons, those who have joined the meeting, to stand up for national anthem. And I would request Amol to play the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you, Amol.